All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we're going to be diving into the markets. And I have to say, it's almost like the market erased the little kind of blip on the radar we had yesterday. We hit an all-time high. There was a big Bitcoin dump afterwards. But if we look at this 24 hours, nothing really looks affected after all. We'll go over why I actually think that time and right now is still the best time to top up your altcoin bags heading into. I think we're going to burst through all-time highs again, and I think this next time is not going to be what we just saw with that pullback. So we'll go over my thesis on the market. We'll go over the altcoins I'm looking at having big runs during this time period and the ones you should be accumulating before we see the next leg up. So without further ado, let's get in the game. As always, guys, drop down, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 100K subs before we hit 100K Bitcoin. Although if the latter happens first, we're not going to be upset about it. But smash the like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Shout out to all of our sponsors here on In the Game. We have Vulcan Forged, Ultra. We have Game Starter, Uncaged, Dreams Quest, Linea, My Lovely Planet, as well as some of our recent sponsors, Africa Rare, Funtico. So we have some amazing sponsors. Link down below in the description, and we'll go over some of those sponsors here at the end of the show. But I think, obviously the elephant in the room and the other guys on Banter and everything like that have talked about it for sure. But, yesterday, if we go on this weekly chart, we saw this. We hit a new all-time high right around here. And then, or I guess, yeah, it would be like during this range. And then we saw this big dump back down to 62,000. But it's kind of erased itself. I mean, Bitcoin's back up 3% today, 5% on the week. And I actually think the next time we press up into those ranges, we're going to see a clean break of those all-time highs. I actually expect 70K here heading into, I don't know, maybe this week. I think that was a shakeout, so to speak, get some of that leverage flushed. There was a lot of meme coin activity out there. But right now, like, alt season hasn't even started. And we're not going to see alt season starting until we hit those all-time highs. And I think there's great positions to be had. One thing I saw that was funny, though, a lot of people are now pivoting back to crypto, ecom people, AI people. And if you've seen the Beckham documentary, you'll know like what this scene. I always loved crypto. Be honest. I'm being honest, loved crypto. I pivoted to AI. So all the AI pivoters are coming back to crypto as they're seeing Bitcoin kind of touching those all-time highs. But what are some of the altcoins, first and foremost, that have recovered and rallied really well during this time period? Creo Engine is leading the charge, 30% on the day, and I love what they're doing over there at Creo, $30 million market cap. We have a Beam game here, up 10%, which is Forgotten Playland. And I wanted to shout out Beam because if we go look at the strength here, look at this. Once Bitcoin took a big hit, it got all the way down to almost 3 cents and then had a 33% rally from that low and got up here to 4 cents. It's kind of, sitting around that 4 cent range. I tweeted about this. I said, Beam is showing insane strength amidst a market pullback, extremely bullish signal here for what's to come. And this is why on the last show, like, I would be accumulating these base layers, base layers still. Like when Rand and I did that show, I allocated the heaviest to stuff like Beam, Super, IMX, Ronin, and Becker actually, ironically, came through. He's IMX, Beam, and Super, the three horsemen of the gaming apocalypse, in reply to my tweet. And he said, yes, I know there's four, but three horsemen sounds cool. And I actually think you could say there's four horsemen because of Ronin. So I would still be stacking hard on IMX, Super, Beam, and Ronin. And if we take a look here, Super also very impressive. If we took a look at the chart here, got down to $1.16 and immediately got bought back up basically to $1.50 here. So a lot of strength on some of these base layers that are out there, the blockchains, the infrastructures, the studios that these games are built on. Champs, this one's been running hard. It's up 87% on the month and 17% on the 7-day chart. And if we take a look here, this one's just had a really nice run over this week. If we see this and then we take a look at the month. So this is one of those low cap coins we've been calling on the channel for quite a while. I think that Playable Games is in a pretty good spot here, 23 million. I think anywhere from like 18 to 22 million is my buy target. So it's right above that. So I don't think it's, too far-fetched to go out and accumulate at this point in time. But I think there's a lot of different projects doing some cool things. And I have to say, shout out to anyone who took the position on Balance AI. Balance AI, we got here around $7. This thing is now $18.69 as we're speaking today. So the AI narrative is proving to be kind of alongside the gaming space to be one of the best narratives to invest in across all of crypto. Gaming, AI, those are my focuses. I'll, sometimes invest in a new chain or, something like that. But my portfolio is basically strictly gaming and AI at this point in time. Couple things I think we should look out for this week, and a couple altcoins going under the radar right now that I think have some big catalyst around the corner. Number one, Shrapnel. So Shrapnel, there was unlocks planned in the next 30 days or so from their initial TGE. They've actually worked with pre-sale investors to potentially adjust what's going on with some of the tokenomics. So big shout out to Shrapnel. I think that's going to really help give them more time to get this game polished. A lot of people have been jumping in. There's 1 day until the next game update. So I'm really looking out for this. People are having a great time playing it. It's obviously very early. It's like, Midnight Society, when they ran their playtest, the game was unpolished, but very fun, right? And I think that Shrapnel's kind of in that same spot. There are some things to touch up, and the team knows that, but at the same time, the game is amazing. Like, just jumping in it myself, I have to say, it is one of the better games on desktop, especially like AAA style game in crypto. So I'm looking at Shrapnel, and if we take a look at, let's find it here, Shrapnel. Right now, about a 70 million market. I mean, it's very, very undervalued versus stuff like 𝗚𝗡𝗡𝗅 versus stuff like Pixels. And those two games have fantastic user counts. So for now, that could be justified. But I think that Shrapnel could take a big leg up here if the game update does come through and the leaderboard catches a little bit of fire. So I'm still in my position here from 13 cents. And I'm going to be able to sit in this for a little bit. I'm going to let the game materialize, especially with a little bit of an update on the tokenomics. Number two would be Decimated. So I've talked about this one just a little bit. The next couple of coins are going to be Solana ecosystem. I think that the Solana ecosystem has had its narrative, and then it kind of went under the radar. So if we go find Decimated here, it should be in these low cap ranges. Here we go. Right now, 18 million market cap. And if we look at the monthly chart here, it just really hasn't moved that much. I've been chatting with the team, and they have a lot in store as far as updates go. Playable, you can go into their Discord right now and actually start playing this game. And at an 18 million market cap, the game looks fantastic. I think kind of like what Domi Online is for Avalanche, I think that Decimated could be for the Solana network. Just like that quality game, low cap, underrated. Like, everyone focuses on Crown, Honeyland, which I absolutely love, but I think there's more to the gaming narrative on Solana, and I think that Decimated is going to have its day in the sun. This is one I'm also kind of taking a look at accumulating at this point in time. Another Solana gem that we called here around 40 cents on the channel, lingering around 80 cents right now, is Kaneko. As you see here, they actually did very well, and they're going to be doing a $10,000 buyback on the token. They had 4.5 million in casino volume. So, I mean, very good metrics here for the month of February. For a project that really doesn't do a ton of marketing, they also have an NFT drop on the way. That is something I'm going to be taking a look at. Next narrative is Blast. So the Blast narrative, don't fade the Blast narrative. So I'm going to go over here to tokens. I'm going to go to sectors. And we can see here Blast ecosystem. And right now, the Blast ecosystem is a lot of memes at this point in time, but there are going to be some quality projects like YOLO Games, as well as Bag, which we're about to talk about. How about this token right here? Finger Blast. Blast is already living up to its name here on this network with the memes. But whenever you look at Bag, I actually love what they're doing. First and foremost, they're throwing tournaments in collaboration with another one of my favorite GambleFi projects, Virtue Poker. And I actually had the pleasure to meet the team from Virtue Poker here recently. And I have to say, they have a lot of cool stuff in store with some pretty, high profile, I would say, people in the poker space. So very cool to see what they're doing over at Virtue Poker. And then they've collaborated with Bag, which is now the premier poker platform on Blast. And now you can go in, you can play, and you actually are earning Blast points. So the more bag you hold, the more Blast points you can earn. And if you go through here and actually take a look, you can start playing this game now and start earning Blast points. So that's going to accrue your airdrop. It's going to help you get more protocol airdrops. Just helps your Blast reputation in general when it comes to future airdrops. So this is definitely one I'm keeping my eye on Blast. And otherwise, I think genuinely, this is one of the last times to load up altcoins at these ranges, right? When you're looking across the table here, stuff like Game Starter, Dubs, Unix, Honeyland, Wombat, Winter Protocol has been taking a hit. And, you know, it's one of my top GambleFi projects. I think Based is very low priced at this moment in time. Decimated, GFAL is looking good. So a lot of these projects over time have, you know, had their runs and had their consolidation and, you know, had their pullbacks. I genuinely think, and the thumbnail will say it, we're like not even close to alt season right now. But once we break through all-time highs, altcoins are going to look ridiculous. And I think the ones that you should no-brainer be stacking at this point in time, I'm going to stay on this because the amount of just resilience that these coins show whenever the market takes a hit, Beam, Super, they recover so fast. The narrative is there for these coins. Those would have to be my top accumulations at this point in time. But I did just go over, I think, 4 or 5 low cap altcoins that I would be taking a look at right now. Some across Solana, some across Blast. We have Shrapnel. And then I think, first and foremost, this one's going to keep running. This is right now the one I have my eyes on. My open position that I have my eyes on the closest is WBAI here with Balance AI. We're already up over 2x, pushing for a 3x here if this thing hits $21 and at a 55 million market cap. I think I don't want to be too bullish here. I think $30 is easy for this token at this point in time. So let's hope to continue riding this one up. And otherwise, I think that altcoins are just in a good position to have that last taste. Like, sit down at that dinner table, pull out your utensils, DCA into those, and prepare your meal for this feast that we will all have heading into a potential alt season if we cross back over all-time highs. We have Aether Games, TGE coming up. They're going to be listed on Bybit as of tomorrow. When that would be Thursday the 7th. So I'm definitely going to update on that on the Friday show. We have a week until the Entangle TGE. This is like a layer 0 competitor. I think they have a lot cooking behind this ecosystem. We have Vendetta TGE coming up. They just announced their partnership with Immutable as well. We have Second World Games. We talked about this one. Game Studio, really under the radar, but they're doing some cool things with Pudgy, Meme Land. They're going to give these token Genesis loot boxes for free to different communities. Today, they announced that they're giving 1,000 boxes over to the Meme Land community. Very cool stuff going on over this ecosystem. They have multiple games, and the games are actually very quality. So shout out to Second World Games. I think this is definitely one that we should have our eyes on, and I'll continue to update on some of these ecosystems, but a lot of current tokens out there to accumulate and a lot of things around the corner. Really exciting for the gaming space. And I think that the next 45 days is going to be really hot for gaming, knowing some of the stuff that's around the corner from some of these teams. I think that gaming is going to be in the narrative, to say the least. And we're going to be in the game here to keep you updated on that narrative. And a quick shout out to a couple of our sponsors here on In the Game. We have Vulcan Forged, who also I think is a good buy today, by the way. But we accumulated the lows there, so it's hard to kind of, it's different. Like, the valuation currently is still cheap in my opinion, but the price that we entered at here on In the Game was quite a bit lower. At this point, a lot of games are coming over to the Elysium chain. The sci-fi MMORPG Exo Worlds is now moving exclusively to the Vulcan Forge blockchain. So the Launchpad and the chain activity, I think, are going to catapult Vulcan Forged in this next cycle. So I'm super stoked to see just the ecosystem growth here. I mean, I've been such a big fan of Vulcan Forge since 2021. So seeing what this team's done at this point in time is very exciting. We have Funtico. If you have not already, drop down below. We have a link in the description. You can try to get whitelisted for their campaign, where you can get entry tickets into their competition with all of these prizes. As we see here, they have the whitelist leaderboard. you're going to be competing for these whitelists and a prize pool of $100,000, which includes a Pudgy Penguin, Nexus passes, Godziras. There's tons of different things you can qualify for here. Another studio up and coming that has multiple games in the ecosystem, very competitive ecosystem as well. So shout out to Funtico. Submit for the whitelist down below. I promise you will not be disappointed. We have Uncaged. They're bringing a lot of new utility to the Monkey Ball token, the formerly Monkey Ball, now Uncaged. As we see here, a perfect penalty kick is the economy, what they're terming it. Full power on user acquisition, incentivizing players to use MBS over fiat, more demand for MBS, and more revenue in the game store. And this right here equals more yield for the MBS holders. And last, but certainly not least, NordVPN. Things are getting crazy out there. And just the best way to remain anonymous, hide your location, hide your IP address, utilize NordVPN down below. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee on NordVPN down below. And on top of that, use one of our trusted exchanges. Like, it's also going to be the time where you want to be able to have a quality on-off ramp where you can go trade. You can use leverage if you so choose. Personally, I'm a spot trader. Like, I leave leverage out because I think that messes with my psychology sometimes. So I've made my hay in these markets over the years at this point, just accumulating spot and letting those positions grow, which is another reason why I genuinely think now is a fantastic time to do those final top-ups on your bags on some of these. And I hope that this show brought you some clarity. That Bitcoin dump that was completely calculated. You have to think of the amount of sell orders, the limit sells, shorts that were definitely opened once we hit all-time high. It's this psychological thing that it's really hard to get over for a lot of people. It's like when people target 100K Bitcoin, 10K Ethereum. It's not that easy to break through those levels because everyone is thinking, oh, that's the price target. So what do the smart money traders do? They short around those levels. So that way there's always that pressure. That's why there's resistance at those levels. So I genuinely think the next time we push up, it might be a battle, but I think we see 70K maybe before the end of the week, maybe over the weekend. We've been seeing some weekend pumps here over the last couple of weeks. So I'm excited to see where Bitcoin goes next. I think altcoins are at a great position to buy today. And we went over quite a few of those in today's show. If you got value from this, like the video and subscribe down below. We're racing against Bitcoin for 100K, as I mentioned. Help us get there. And as always, guys, I'll be back on Friday. Play well, my friends.